Want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook. Football is back, baseball playoffs, and the hockey season are around the corner. Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Made for Canadians, by Canadians, Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. You can head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Ontario only, 18 plus. Please play responsibly. We're not really in the business of doing promo for people who don't pay us, if you get what I'm saying. All that to say, it seems as if Frankie Lasagna is a real name, but his shame is very real. Just the idea that you have an opportunity to get, like, at worst, $2 million and you drop it. It goes off your glove and you miss it. Like, is.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, man.
Oh,
what's up? I got some news.
Wait, whoa. This doesn't I mean, it's happened like a few times where we see stuff that kind of goes through. What'd you see? What's going on?
Rasmus Sandin is finalizing a 2-year deal with the Leafs.
Okay. Are you breaking news like live right now?
Oh, 2-year deal for Sandin. Hang on. Sorry, I got a tweet. This is not going to make good.
So I've said this on so many times before, where I do not feel any way about CJ on the podcast when he's looking up and looking down at his phone, because there's a good chance that he's trying to break news or try and make something happen. That day has finally happened where CJ is breaking news on his own podcast. And okay, Rasmus Sandin, we've mentioned him on the podcast before. It looks as if he is signing a 2-year deal. Is that all we know right now?
1.4 million is the AAV on the contract.
Okay.
Hang on, I just got to tweet this.
Okay, so by the time, I mean, that's still pretty cool that we were able to print this as we were recording. That's very convenient. This is really cool just to see so basically for people who are watching on YouTube or not watching on YouTube right now, CJ is literally just on his phone in full-on tunnel vision, tweeting out or at least writing about this story, or just letting everybody know Rasmus Sandin has signed a 2-year deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, kind of convenient, funny enough, considering the game they played Wednesday night against the Canadiens, where 2 of their defensemen ended up going out due to injury, Carl Dahlstrom and Jordy Ben. So I wonder how much that had to do with getting Rasmus Sandin's deal done. And I guess you could answer that when you're able to look up. But this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool.
You're seeing how the sausage is made for anyone.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a couple interesting things to unpack here.
Okay.
But the good thing for Sandin is, well, first of all, it sounds to me, and this is just some initial reporting being done.
Sure. Yeah.
That oh man, my phone's going nuts.
Are you okay? Do you need a break?
All right. I need a breath. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. I wish I had a chocolate bar here to chill out with.
Okay. I wish you had one too at this point.
Man, but
you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. It's I didn't plan on this happening during the podcast.
No, no one did. I didn't write this in my notes at all. I mean, you have to be prepared for the unexpected, essentially. So, yeah, just as best as you can, give us everything you know about the Rasmus Sandin situation.
So I think that the injuries on the Leafs blue line here actually helped in this case. It sounds like Rasmus Sandin, rather than seeing a bunch of his teammates out injured and thinking, hey, this is a chance for more leverage in negotiations, decided he wanted to be part of the solution rather than the problem. And so it's my understanding that ironically, when you would think, with Timothy Liljegren going to miss a few weeks of the regular season, both Jordy Ben and Carl Dahlstrom left Wednesday's preseason game against Montreal injured. Jake Muzzin hasn't yet been a full participant in camp with a back issue. That it was at that point, Sandin, I think, decided that there was no sense in extending this any further. It's my understanding he'll fly to Toronto on Friday and rejoin the Leafs or join training camp, I suppose, um, for Friday by the end of the week for training camp. And so, it's sort of interesting. You'd think that would play into his favor, and I think ultimately it led to him, signing a deal. So, for the Leafs, this is good news because they are down a bunch of Ds.
Mm-hmm.
And my apologies.
All good. All good. Do what you need to do. Again, this is, if this was like radio, we'd have to do the whole, remind every few minutes what's going on, but we might as well just do it anyway for those who, I mean, no, not that people would be tapping in right now, but this is still really cool that you're able to break this news of Rasmus Sandin signing. This is really awesome.
Yeah, they're seeing my distracted brain, toggling between my texts and
you're on this. Like, this isn't like a press release. Like, this is your info.
Yeah, actually, the Leafs are just releasing it right now. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. This is really like an in-depth look of like how it is for like an insider, like breaking a story and then trying to get out a little in front of the team. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. So, look, this is good for Sandin. He's a 22-year-old defenseman. He missed 8 days of training camp. And I think everyone recognized it had to end. I'm told there's actually a meeting face-to-face earlier in the week with the Leafs front office and Sandin's agent, which I think helped get things going in a positive direction. But ultimately, the player himself saw the situation back in Toronto, saw the fact that the team is losing players. And I think, look, we've talked about this throughout with a number of the RFAs. I mean, really, on your second contract, you don't have much choice. And so, the high line item here is he takes a deal at 1.4 million over 2 years that he could have signed probably 3 months ago. What changed, of course, is the circumstances, and I think missing that time. And it's actually critical for the Leafs because they're going to start the year with Timothy Liljegren's salary on long-term injured reserve. It's 1.4 million. So that matches up perfectly in terms of the Leafs at least being able to start the season cap compliant. I would think at some point, if they do get fully healthy, which is always an if with NHL teams, it's always risky to say, hey, when they get fully healthy, because some years no team gets fully, or a team doesn't get fully healthy, but they might have to make a trade to make the numbers work. But it looks to me, at least in this initial instance, that that Sandin is going to basically help the team fit all the pieces together to start camp. To start the season. I don't think they'll have to make a move there, and we'll go from there. And so, he's going to be in Toronto on the weekend. I'm sure he'll address some of this himself. Maybe Kyle Dubas will speak to reporters. And then, what's important for the Leafs is to get him back on the ice, because I think he's going to be an important contributor for them this season.
Thank you for answering that question with the salary cap, because that was going to be my follow-up question. And funny enough, like in my notes, I was going to ask, because of all those injuries on the blue line, what that would mean for Sandin, but also Dahlstrom and Ben's injuries and Liljegren and Muzzin, they are also on top of the fact that John Tavares is also out for the next 3 weeks with an oblique injury. We're going to get to that a little later on in the show today. We're going to get to some news about some estimates of the salary cap going up in the next few years. We also have to get sports interaction with David Bastel, which we'll get to it in a few moments. I feel as if, like, Siege, I know you like the good coffee. I think you might have to get yourself some good wine for a bit.
It's a little early in the morning for that. We do record in the morning, as our loyal listeners know, but
it doesn't stop you from being at Arrow at 9 o'clock in the morning.
No.